You take advantage of our limited time offer with special financing direct to you. Visit windowworksofchattanooga.com.
Watch me, J Hud, weekdays at 3 on Local 3.
We are so excited this morning to have Catherine Needham back on the show. She has Cycle Balance here in town, and if you or someone you know and love right now is facing some concerns with fertility issues, first of all, I think her message would be, please don't give up. And I think her second message would be, if you are in that circle for those people, please support. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely, because the last thing that anybody experiencing any type of grief, whether it's from infertility or something else, the last thing they want to feel is left behind or left out.
Right. So there's actually a week designated as an infertility awareness week. We are in it right now. But how pervasive, Catherine, is the struggle with infertility? Are people facing it more? I
certainly see that we are seeing it more. I think more people are more aware and more willing to share that information, so it might seem more pervasive, but the World Health Organization estimates 1 in 6 people in their lifetime will face infertility, and some other organizations it's more like 1 in 8 couples, but the fact that either one of those numbers is astounding. When you think about who's in your circle of friends, that's probably 1 or 2 of them, and it's just so consuming to their lives for such a long chapter, and it encompasses, you know, your friendships, your relationship with your partner, certainly the financial aspect of it, and really grieving, or at least trying to understand what the future, your dreams might look like if it's different than what you had hoped for. So, I mean, we'll talk a little bit, I hope, about what you do at Cycle Balance, but let's talk about that circle, because that's, you kind of wanted to have a heart message to people right now. Some things maybe just to not do, like don't ask a couple, so when are you going to start having children? Please don't. Yes, because you just never know how close that struggle is to the surface of their minds. And if you are experiencing infertility, it is always just so close to front of your mind, even if you're not in an active fertility treatment plan or anything like that. It is always just so close. And please, as well-intentioned as it can be to say to just relax or to go on vacation, or this is what my friend did, they've probably heard all that, or they've Googled all that and read about it on Reddit or something like that. So really what the person is wanting to hear from you is just that you understand that they're going through something, and to not feel like they have to be left out because they're experiencing infertility. We wouldn't want that in any other form of grief. Right. And not to get too into the different things that can happen to a woman, but it could be anything from just simply not being able to conceive at all to losing a pregnancy. Either way, there is a grief, because month after month you get this excitement and this hope that maybe this time. Yes, you always think, is this how my story is going to end? And so what can feel like a sprint on the day-to-day is really a marathon with no finish line in sight, because you really don't know how your story is going to end. Like, well, looking back, will the narrative of my life be that we just weren't able to, or will it be more like this, or like, it's so many questions. And at some point, probably, because it is like a grief, there becomes some finger pointing back at yourself. Like, what did I do? And you don't want to see that either. Of course not, because everyone is trying to do the best that they can and make the most informed decision with the information they have. Right. And so don't look back and blame anything about your former self and your former choices, because you really were making the best choices you could have given the circumstances. Okay, so let's talk a little bit though about what you do at Cycle Balance. First of all, you've been there, so you know what it feels like. I do. So I think you told me in the past that you kind of really hug your clients very tightly, and you want to be there for them every step of the way. I do, because I want them to know that somebody's in their corner, and somebody's going to spend more time with them with this particular facet of their health than really any other practitioner can. And I want to help them navigate that, look at all the choices that they might have available to them, see what we can do to really optimize their chances of conception, naturally restoring their own fertility, but then also help them advocate for themselves if they want to have certain tests done as well. And really I offer a place, because my appointments are pretty long, they're about 30 minutes to an hour. If they just need to vent, to kind of scream into the void and have somebody who understands what it's like to be told devastating news and then have to go back to work, I get that. It is Cycle Balance. So is the name
that you're trying to keep the cycles balanced, and so many women now just struggle with that?
It is, and for so many of us, we spend a great deal of our younger years on contraception. Not that that's inherently bad, it just means that once you're ready to have a child, you may not have had the years of cycle charting to establish what your baseline looks like. And so as soon as you come off contraception, you want to get pregnant like that. But we need to find out what your baseline is so that we can optimize it if we need to, and we can take advantage of every fertile window that you have moving forward.
Is there a connection at all to nutrition?
There is. There certainly is. I think the rise we see in PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome, because a component of that is insulin resistance. That is an extension of the rise in the metabolic syndrome that we see across America because of the rise in insulin resistance, increases in weight, cholesterol levels, and I think that's an extension of that. And so what we tackle is, of course, the cycle balancing part of it, but a big key part of that is optimizing the nutritional picture for these women, making sure that they understand not just go on a diet. Like, what does that mean for me? It's a personalized diet. What do we need to add the most of to really optimize that nutritionally as well?
Yeah, you're really getting in there. If you saw 3 couples in the course of a day, let's just say, and maybe each of them had a kind of a similar story of what happened in this journey, but their reasons for it are going to all be different.
So different. It's such a wide array, a huge spectrum of what people have experienced up to this point when I first meet them, whether that's years, a few months, even just like I just have concerns, and even what their preferences are, even if they're aware of other treatment options for infertility. That's not for everyone, and so I offer that middle ground between just Googling it, basically, when women are said, well, if you want to go try have a baby, try for 6 to 12 months. Well, that's a really long time. All the way up to and including women going through IVF, there's so many options, and I want to meet them in that middle.
So you did say, please don't say just relax.
Yes.
However, I would think stress is a factor as well, because a lot of us don't even feel the stress that we live with.
That is absolutely true. And certainly stress is a big component in the body's ability to ovulate on a regular interval, because the parts of the brain that are so linked with ovulation are very primitive relative to the front part of the brain that houses all of our emotions. So it's very sensitive to increase in emotional stress and even physical stress, like I got sick this month or something like that. That's our body's way to delay ovulation until the body feels safe. But what we have to do is find sustainable ways that you can daily manage your stress, whether that's coping, whether that's cognitive behavioral therapy, whether that's just like healthy outlets, like a creative outlet, for example, to really help your brain realize that it's not under threat. Even though the stress itself is probably from the infertility, it's such a vicious cycle in that way. But one 2015 study found that women who got mental health support through their infertility were 2 times as likely to conceive as women who didn't.
So that's a huge statistic.
It is.
I mean, here's the thing. It's always beneficial to talk to somebody who understands deeply what you're feeling, not to minimize your own feelings, but can fight for you.
Yes.
CatherineNeedham.com is her website. Find her on Instagram, CycleBalanceDoc. And then all of her appointments are virtual, and she is happy to be right there to give you that support you're looking for.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Kart Nation's huge spring sale. Save up to $3,000 on golf carts made in Tennessee. New and used carts as low as $54.99. 100% in-house financing, no turndowns. 60-month 0% financing available. Spring into action now. Don't miss these deals. Go to golfcarts.com.
It's replacement window season. You have ugly, hard